once again. So this is section 4. So today we'll be looking at the management of receivables. Alright, so these are objectives for today. At the end of this session, you should be able to 1. Explain the credit management policy and also the data management policy. Second objective is to explain the factoring, alright, and also outline the advantages and also any associated disadvantage with the use of factoring. And 3, calculate the cost of offering early payment discounts. So that's our 3 main objectives for today. Right, so let's so we have a credit analysis system. Here. So they are more like systems that have been put in place by management in order to reduce their receivables or the rate of bad debt. Right, so these are all some of the systems. Let's talk about them. So we have our credit analysis system. So to make a sensible decision about whether to trade with a company or not, information about the business is needed. Alright. So the risk of bad debt can be minimized if the credit worthiness of a new customer is carefully assessed before credit is granted, and if the credit worthiness of existing customers is also reviewed regularly. So the credit analysis system is more like a system that helps to know to review or to keep information about the credit worthiness of a firm or any key information that must be known about a data or a customer before we give out goods to such customer on credit. Right, so there must be a system in place to help management know about the liquidity position of their customers as well. Right, so we also have credit control system. Alright, so once a business has been able to assess the credit worthiness of the firm, a credit limit must be agreed. Alright, so the company should take steps to ensure that the customer keeps to the credit limit. Right, so we've assessed the credit worthiness, we've granted the credit to the customers. Maybe you have to take 30 days to pay, 40 days. So the credit control system ensures that the customer keeps to the credit limit and also the terms of the trade. So customer accounts should be kept within the agreed credit limit, and also hold on. Yeah, and of course, credit granted should be reviewed regularly to make sure that it's still deemed appropriate. Alright, so I also have discount for early payment. Alright, so these are some of the terms that we'll be using. So let's run through them. We have discount for early payment here. So cash discount. Discount for early payment. Alright, so we have discount for early payment is cash discount, and discount for buying in bulk is trade discount. I hope you know the difference now between trade discount and cash discount. Right, so cash discount may encourage early payment, but the cost of such discount must be less than the total financing savings resulting from lower debt balances. Let's take that again. Cash discount may be encouraged early payment, but the cost of such discount must be, so that is the keyword, must be less than the total financing savings resulting from lower data balances. Right, any administrative or financing saving arising from shorter data collection period, and also any benefits from lower bad debt. So this is how to find the cost of the discount or the percentage of the discount. Right, so this is the C represent the cost. So this is the formula here. It's not big. All right, so C equals big bracket here, D over 1 minus D, or exponent 365 over days. All right, so this one too is of course days, all minus 1 here. So let's define the variable. So C here represents the cost of early payment discounts, and we also have D to be the early payment discount percentage, and the days to be the normal terms minus the discount terms. All right, maybe the normal terms was maybe 10 days, and the discount terms is maybe 5. If you pay within 5 days, we give you a discount of this. So that is the discount terms, and the early payment discount percentage that was set is the D. All right, I hope you understand the variables. All right, so let's see if you have some question that we can try. Good. We have a question here. We can try our hands on this question. So Sankofa Company Limited offered its goods to customers on 30 days credit. So it offers goods to customers on 30 days credit, subject to satisfactory trade references. So it also offers a discount of 2% if payment is made within 10 days. So if the payment is, so that is the discount term. If the payment is made within 10 days of the date of the invoice, you enjoy a discount of 2%. Right. So we have to calculate the cost to the company of offering the discount, assuming a 365 days in a year. All right. So just picture the formula in we have D over 1 minus D. C equals D over 1 minus D over 365 over the normal term minus the discount term. So the normal term that the company satisfied based on the trade references, we have 30 days here, and the discount term was given to be 10 days, and of course the discount is 2%. Right, so we have all the elements that we need in the formula. So let's see how to go about it. Good. So we are to find the percentage cost of the discount. We are finding the percentage cost of the discount. Good. So we have D over 1 minus D. Okay. All right. So yeah, let's continue. So we are finding the percentage cost. So we've defined the formula here. Yeah. So the formula is D over 1 minus D, all exponent 365 days over the days. So the days is the normal terms, or the normal term minus the discount term. Right. So in the question, they gave us, so here is supposed to be D. Oh, so D is given to be 2, right? So we have 2 here, 2. Good. So we also have our 100 minus 2 here. So if you do your substitution, we are going to get 1.02 or exponent 18.25 minus 1. So then we are getting 44.65% as the cost of the discount. All right. So they give this is the normal term. Our 30 was the normal credit term, and also the 10 days was the discount term, and the percent or the discount is 2%. You know, 1 minus D means that 1 is, if you are using 2%, means 1 is 100%. All right. But if you are using 0.02, then we can use 1 here. I hope you understand. Yeah, it's the same. You get the same answer. So 44.65 days. So let's look at factoring. Factoring here. So a factor. So a factor, a factor. I think I explained factor in our previous section. So if you're unable to collect your debt, all right, you can decide to sell your debt to a factor. So a factor is someone who take over your debt and pay you at a discount. All right. So because he's going to do the chasing for you. Since you can't do the chasing, he's going to chase the debt for you, but he will You won't get the full amount as if you were the one chasing it. Right? So if the debt amount is maybe 100,000, you are going to get something like 80,000, right? So the 20,000 will be the cost for the service of the debtor or the factor. I hope you understand. Yeah. So a factor can take over the administration of sales invoicing and also accounting for a client company, together with collecting amount due from debtors and also chasing up any slow payers. That's what I said. So a factor can offer a cash advance against the security of the debtors, allowing a company ready access to cash as soon as the credit sales are made, right? So for an additional fee, so good. A factor can take on any bad debt that may arise through non-payment. So for additional fee, you can also take on any bad debt that may arise through non-payment. So since here the factor does not have recourse to the company for compensation in the event of non-payment, this is called non-recourse factoring. Right. So with this one, if the debtor does not pay, the factor bears the cost. So that is the non-recourse factoring. So the factor will charge an additional fee for such service. That is the non-recourse factoring. So what are some of the advantages? Because the factor will give you some money. All right. It's more like a loan to you because he's chasing the debt for you. Is he also giving you an advanced loan at an interest rate, right? So that you can use to it. So a bit loan gives you ready cash access so that you can use it to operate your business. So what are some of the advantages that are associated with the service of a factor or advantages of factoring? So there is prompt payment of suppliers, all right, leading to obtaining early payment discount. All right, so because you have a distance or um an instant access to funds through the advance payment that is being made by the factor, you can also do prompt payment of suppliers. And you can also obtain your early payment discount. I hope you understand. Because if your debtor does not pay you, which money are you going to take to pay your suppliers? So if someone is taking that service and the person is giving you advance payment, it is an advantage. So second point, you have a reduction in the amount of working capital that is tied up in receivables or debtors. All right. So because of the service, the factor is able to chase the debt. It helps to reduce your number of debtors. Right. You also have financing growth through sales, and of course, you have savings on sales administration cost. So if you were to administer, if you were to chase this, that you incur some cost. So if someone is doing for it, means you are saving or you are saving on that administration cost. Yeah, because even if you also to pay someone to do that work in your organization, the person is going to take a monthly salary, right, for chasing debt or for analyzing the receivables. So if you are outsourcing that service, it means you are saving on the administration cost of that. I hope you understand. Good. So we have good. So let's try with this question. Evans Co makes annual credit sales of 1,500,000. Okay. So the credit terms are 30 days. So this is the credit terms. But its debt administration has been poor. Its debt administration has been poor and the average collection period has been 45 days. Wow. With 0.5% of sales resulting in bad debt which are written off. I hope you understand the question. Right, so the credit terms was 30 days, but because of poor administration or poor um, administration of the when it comes to the collection of debt, it has been 45 days. And even with the 45 days, it also led to a 0.5% bad debt. All right. So let's continue. A factor will take on the tax of debt administration and credit checking at an annual fee of 2.5% of credit sales. So the cost to the factor, or the cost that the factor is charging annually, is 2.5% of the credit sales. And you know the credit sales here, that is the 1,500,000. So Evans will save 30,000 a year in administration costs. Because you are using the service of a factor, you are saving 30,000 a year in administration costs. The payment period will be 30 days. Because of the service of the factor, now the payment period will be reduced to 30 days. The factor will also provide advance 80% of invoice debt at an interest rate of 14%. And that is 3% over the current base rate. Right. So because they are also giving you 80% advance, though he has not collected the debt, but he's giving you an advance payment at an interest rate. Alright. So Evans can obtain an overdraft facility to finance its accounts receivables at the rate of 2.5% over base rate. So should Evans Company Limited accept the factor service, we have to assume a constant monthly revenue. Alright, so let's see how to go about it. Alright, so this is how to go about it. So the requirement is to whether Evans Co should accept the factor services. So what are the things that you consider before you decide whether to accept the service or not? So first of all, you have to look at the requirement, or how much cost you if you are to do it. How much cost are you incurring in all, and also if the factor is to do it for you, what's the total cost? You compare the two and you choose the one that is least cost. I hope you understand. Alright, so the annual credit sales was 1,500,000, and it will take, the credit terms was 30 days, but the collection period has been 45 days, and it's also a 0.5% bad debt. Alright, so it means that if you read the last statement here, let me highlight it for you again. Right, it said that Evans can obtain an overdraft facility, alright, to finance its account receivables. So if you are to finance the receivables at the bank or something, it means you are going to incur the 11% plus the 2.5%. So the 11% is coming from the, you see, the factor will also provide an advance of 80% of invoice debt at an interest rate of, we have 14% here, but they are saying that it's 3% over the current base rate. So it means that the current base rate is 11%, right? So if you can obtain an overdraft facility from your bank maybe, and it's 2.5% over the base rate, it means that the rate will be 11% plus 2.5%, right? So that is the rate that you pay, or the cost you incur on trying to manage your receivables. Alright, so it will be 12.5% or 13.5% multiplied by the credit sales figure. So we are more like finding the interest cost that we are incurring on managing these receivables, and it's not managed. We are just using 45 days out of the 365 days. Alright, so we just find a proportion of this to find the interest cost that we are incurring. Of course, if you are to manage it ourselves, or if you are not to employ the service of a factor, you'll be incurring a bad debt, right? There is a bad debt somewhere. Where is the bad debt? You'll be incurring a bad debt of 0.5% of sales. So this is the bad debt that you'll be incurring, 0.5% of sales. It's also another cost to us that we will be incurring. So that is how you do it. And of course, you'll be incurring administration costs of 30,000 per year. if you are not employing the service of the factor. I hope you understand. So you compare the cost you are incurring without factoring, and also if you are to use the service of a factor, what's the cost you are going to incur, or what amount are you saving. You compare the two to see the one that gives you the least cost. Then you choose whether to accept the factor or not. I hope you understand. So let's dive into the solution. So this is the solution. So note, it is assumed that the factor will advance an amount of what? An amount equal to 80% of the invoice debt. That is what they said. And the balance 30 days later. Alright, so one. So the current situation is as follows. So we are looking at the current situation and also using the service of the factor, as I explained. So using the company's debt collection staff code. So if the company chooses to collect the debt itself without using the service of the factor and also an overdraft to finance the debt, let's see the cost that they are going to incur. So the credit sales was given to be 1,500,000 per annum, and the average credit period is 45 days. Alright. So the annual cost to the if the company decide to use its staff to collect the debt, this is the annual cost is going to incur. So the annual cost is one. This is the so this one is the cost incurred in managing the debt or the receivables. So it's 45 over 365 multiplied by the credit sales figure times 11.5%. I hope I explained this. Alright, so this is the base rate and also the 2.5 that was added. So we are going to get 24,966. Of course, if they are to collect the debt themselves, they are going to incur a bad debt. They will incur bad debt. They will incur a bad debt of 0.5% of the credit sales figure, or of the sales figure. That's what they said. So the bad debt is going to be 7,500. So this is the 0.5% of the credit sales figure. Alright. And of course, they will incur administration costs because they are doing it themselves. So everything we are doing here is we are trying to compare the cost to the company for using its own staff to collect the debt and also using the service of the factor. So whatever we are doing here is the cost to the company. So if the company is to collect the amount by itself, this is the cost is going to incur. Right, so we sum up, then we get a total cost here. A total cost to be 62,466. So that is the total cost to the company for using its own staff to collect the debt. Let's go to the other side. If is to use the service of the factor, so that is the B. So in case you are solving a question, that's how you analyze it, from the angle of the company and also the factor. Right, so B. So the cost of the factor, that is 80% of credit sales financed by the factor, will be 80% of this. So the other side, you use the service of an overdraft, but here if the factor is doing it, these are the is going to give you 80% of the amount, 80% of the 1,500, which is going to be this. Right. So for consistent comparison, we must assume that 20% of credit sales will be financed by a bank overdraft. Right? Because you are not getting all the 100%, we are assuming that if the factor is giving you 80% of it, it means you are going to just borrow 20% of the amount from the bank or using the service of overdraft. I hope you understand. But without the factor, in the other instance, the factor was not giving anything, so we borrowed 100%. We borrowed all the 1,500 using the service of an OD or overdraft. I hope it's clear. Good. So the average credit period will be 30 days if you are using the service of a factor. But the other side, it was 45 days, if you remember. So let's find the annual cost that will be incurred using the service of the factor So the factors finance, this is how it's going to be. So the days is 30 days, the other one was 45 days, right? Times 1200. So the 1200 is he's providing 80% of the amount. So 80% of 1500 is 1200 times 14%. That was the rate. So we are going to get 13,808. So it means that we are going to use overdraft for the remaining amount. So the remaining amount will be 20% of the 1,500,000 times we are getting 300,000. And if we are using the OD, we use the OD rate which was given, and it was 13.5%. So that one too is going to give us 3,329. And the factor, of course, is going to charge us 2.5% of the face value of the sales. So that's also the cost. And this is the total cost that the factor is charging. So if you are to use the service of the factor, this is the total cost that the company is going to incur, which is 54,637. So if you are using the service of a factor, we are incurring 54,637. And if you are to use our own staff to collect the debt, in total we'll be incurring 62,466. So the decision is, which one is better? Should you use the service of the factor or use your own members to collect the debt? So let's see the decision rule. So this is the decision rule. So the factor is cheaper. In this case, the factor's fees equal to the savings in bad debt, this and administration cost of this, right? So the factor is then cheaper overall because it will be more efficient at collecting the debt. We are also saying that the advance of 80% debt is not needed. However, if Evans has sufficient overdraft facility because the factors finance charge of 14 is higher than this, the over rate of this. Alright. So in all, the factor is more cheaper because even if you are to take the overdraft, you are incurring total cost of 64,466 for using your own staff. And if the factor is doing the factor, the cost that will be incurring using the service of the factor will be 54,637. So we go for the one with the least cost. So therefore we employ the service of the factor. I hope it's very simple. Yeah. So we employ the service of the factor. Alright, so you can go through over and over till you are satisfied and make sure you understand. So you can try your hands on these few questions here. Explain this, distinguish this, define the factor, and also this one. Alright, so this is the end of this section. So this is section 4. So in section 5, we'll be looking at the management of payables. Alright, so you can read in advance. We've looked at the management of inventory, management of receivables. So we've been looking at the management of payables in our next session, which is section 5. So you can read ahead of time. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next session. Bye bye.